The key for the Patriots to win is their O-line protecting Drake Maye. We've talked about it, 15 sacks in the postseason, 11 against four-man rush. They got to fix the techniques and fundamentals. Josh McDaniels has done a really good job of putting him in the right protections. They have not executed well. Will this be the game they turn this thing around to get explosive plays down the field with protection?
Otherwise, it could be a long night for Drake Maye. Harry, what are you fired up to see in the Super Bowl?
Can the New England Patriots in their defense sustain third down and red zone success? So far in their first 3 playoff games, they've held their opponents on third down to 12 for 41. That's 29%. In the red zone, 2 for 8. That's 25%. But guess what? The Seattle Seahawks, they aren't missing key components on their offense. Can they sustain what they've done in the first 3 games?
Really good look as we continue it all morning long. Bart, what are you fired up to see in the Super Bowl?
I'm all fired up about the butterfly effect. Who's going to have a different trajectory? You talk about, maybe Drake Maye doing only what maybe Brady, Russell, and Roethlisberger did in the second year, winning a championship. But then you're going to have Sam Darnold saying, Lamar, Allen, Baker, hold my beer, Seattle, show me the money. Tear that contract up.
The first of that class to win a Super Bowl ring. And then, Joe, give us one you were fired up to see on Sunday.
Patriots fall behind early in this game, and it's lights out. Seattle, number 1 in the NFL in first quarter scoring, number 1 in the NFL in first quarter point differential. However, not perfect. In their 3 and only 3 losses this year, they got taken in the first quarter. The Niners got them in week 1, Tampa Bay got them, and the Rams got them. That's the key to Seattle. Put Sam Darnold in a disadvantageous position because if the Patriots fall behind early, that Seattle defense is going to tee off.
Okay, so let's pick it up there. And I was listening to a lot of the stuff that you've had as you're appearing basically on every show on the network these days, talking about the Patriots. And I've done, as we all have, I assume, a bunch of radio shows this week. And I feel like there's sort of a conventional wisdom that is developing. Jeff, I'm looking right at you. That the New England Patriots, and this is not, they don't make their own schedule.
Yeah.
But the reality is the way things have broken for them has been extremely advantageous. This is a significant step up in class. The Seahawks are a better team and will win this handily. I'm not saying it. I'm saying I feel like that is a conventional wisdom that I am hearing. What do you think of it?
Yeah, I disagree with that. And not the point of there definitely have been advantages because of players being injured or not being there, whatever it was from teams that they played. But at the end of the day, Mike Vrabel, Josh McDaniels, this staff, I think they do a great job with their players, and they make it sticky. Like, we can say all you want, you still got to beat the ones on your schedule, and we can minimize how good teams are. This is the NFL. You ain't out recruiting people, y'all. Like, you got to go play. So give credit where credit is due. They've won the ones they had to. And by the way, the second half of the Denver game in a blizzard, like, so some of these numbers are a little bit skewed to me, and you play. Every game is like a style, and sometimes you got to play a little different style. If you don't need to push? Why risk it when you don't need to? So I think a little bit of this is overblown. I do understand what Joe said. If they get behind because of how good their front is, it could get ugly. I don't think they're going to get behind.
What do you think, Bart?
Well, when you talk about, and what Jeff would be the only one on this panel right now that has the experience. I'm sure you won a Super Bowl, you lost a Super Bowl, and not always, the best team doesn't always win.
That's exactly right.
And you just have to be the best team that day. And when feelings and emotions and pressure builds up, it can be crazy. But Seattle has more paths to win than I would say New England. New England's pretty much played a JV type of schedule. But when you play tough opponents and you go through that grit, it prepares you for these type of moments. I'm excited to see, does the coaching experience of Vrabel and McDaniel, outweigh Kupp and Ernest Jones, who has that experience from on the field.
Yeah.
What do you think, Harry?
Well, I love what Bart just said, the coaching experience when you look at New England. Mike Vrabel won 3 Super Bowls as a player. Josh McDaniels, who's the offensive coordinator, he's won 6 Super Bowls with the New England Patriots.
Gracious.
So if you get down early in the ball game, the most important thing is to not hit that panic button, right? Still run your offense. Don't go in panic mode. Don't feel like you have to get it all back with one play or on one drive. You continue to chip away at the lead if Seattle does go up. And I believe the experience of those 2 guys on defense, there's a reason why you bring guys over who's had success. Milton Williams won a Super Bowl with the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah.
Carlton Davis won a Super Bowl with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think all those things combined, if they get down, they're not going to falter, and they're going to still keep their composure.
All right, so then let me come to you over here, because I've been hearing a lot of the stuff that you have been saying. And the number,
yeah, well, Buck Nasty, the world's biggest hater. I thought I was the world's biggest hater.
I'm not dumb. I pay attention to what people who know what they're talking about say, and you're the person who knows what they're talking about. And the reality is, the numbers skew in Seattle's favor.
You don't want to control the controllables. You don't want to duck the team because they can't control the schedule, but you have to evaluate the schedule if you're going to evaluate how the game is going to play out. 20 games this season. Only 6 came against teams with a winning record. And the quarterback in those games struggled. 8 turnovers, 27 sacks. Orlovsky was talking about this the other day. No quarterback has ever entered the Super Bowl having been sacked this many times in the postseason. 15. All right? He's only completing 55% of his passes. Now, you played from in front against the Chargers. You were at home. They had a bad O-line. You played from in front against Houston because C.J. Stroud had one of the worst playoff games in history. And then the game against Denver, Peyton doesn't want to kick the field goal early. And then you take a 1-score game and you prevent it from getting to 2 scores.
There are a couple of different ways to look at this thing. And, Jeff, I'm going to start with you on this.
Okay.
We've talked a lot about what the opposing offenses have struggled against the Patriots. And we have talked about, well, Justin Herbert, and he didn't have any offensive line play, and C.J. Stroud played an unbelievably bad game, and then you had, Stidham and then the weather and all that kind of stuff. Lost underneath that is that the Patriots were an excellent defense all season long, and they will need to be that again on Sunday if they're going to have a chance to win. And they got a guy right in the middle of that defensive line that you think it all starts with.
Yeah, Milton Williams, Super Bowl champion Milton Williams, right? And now he's over in New England. And look what he did against all pros last week against Denver. But they've been doing this all season. And you think about he and Christian Barmore and talking about their ability to push the pocket inside. And I want people to understand, this is not just about sacks, y'all. When quarterbacks have to move off their spot and they have to reset their feet, the timing of offensive plays gets taken out. That is where Sam Darnold struggles. When Sam Darnold is in a clean pocket, no pressure, he has a 73 QBR. When he is pressured, 16. That is a massive difference. The internal pressure is where it really matters. All quarterbacks get accustomed to guys coming around the edge. They can step up in the pocket. Milton Williams, Christian Barmore, getting pressure, pushing the pocket. Again, not just sacks, but make him move, make him reset. Now you give your defense the full chance.
Look at the run defense as well. 12 games with Milton Williams this year. They gave up about 80 rushing yards per game. In the 5 games without, 140 rushing yards. That's a 60-yard difference.
Absolute
Insane.
beast.
Remember, there was that long stretch this season where they hadn't given up a 50-yard rushing game. So the Patriot defense is no joke. All the attention has gone to the Seattle defense and all of this. And I think the conventional wisdom, as we open the show by saying, is all about how Drake Maye has to do something remarkable. How about Sam Darnold? I mean, you've been following him, obviously, since he was on the Jets, and this is the culmination of a long journey. He can forever rewrite his narrative with a big game on Sunday, but it will not be easy against this defense.
Well, ultimately, I think the football guys ultimately give both people the adversity and see who deals with it best, right? I think Sam Darnold's going to throw an interception or have a bad play or a turnover. How does he react to it? Does it become like the same old, like, oh, here we go again? Or does Drake Maye try and do too much, trying to be a star and a hero in the moment, understanding that sometimes the punt is the best play available? So it's about who handles the situational football, who handles, the 2-minute warning, who handles, 4th and 1. And it's about situational football. That's what these games come down to. You're going to have both teams are going to be tight. They're going to be punting the football. Special teams are going to be huge. I think you think about Raheem Shaheed, what a weapon that is. And I want to know if the Patriots are going to decide to kick the ball to him, or do they just say, I'll give you the ball on the 30 because I don't want this guy to flip the field.
I think special teams is big in this matchup on both sides, right? When you look at Marcus Jones with the ability to take a punt return back and Rashid Shaheed. So, which one of these special teams unit, because they're called special teams for a reason. The first thing you're supposed to do as a returner is make sure that you get the possession.
Secure it.
That's the reason why the Los Angeles Rams are sitting at home right now. So, Rashid Shaheed being able to start a playoff game off with a kickoff return for a touchdown, but then that pivotal Thursday night football game versus the Los Angeles Rams that basically gave them the #1 seed, having a punt return and sparking that comeback. So if you're the coverage team of the New England Patriots, I agree with you, Bart. I'm trying to figure out, are we going to kick to this guy, or are we just going to say, hey, let's line up and play defense and give them the ball at 30-yard line?
3-phase game, there's no doubt. I love the special teams conversations because we know it can be a massive factor. I lost a Super Bowl with an onside kick to open a second half. It's those who have the guts to make those calls. I think both coaches potentially could do it. I would lean a little more towards Vrabel, would be a little more to play a little loose in that. But let me just say this to when you were talking about strategy and situational football. As you're looking at both these teams, first and second down, like people can kind of take it out, right? But it's the matchups, right? Are we going to double JSN? We're going to put Gonzalez on Kupp. We're going to put him on Rashid Shaheed. Like, how do those things how do they take shape as the game progresses? Because how they do it in the first quarter may not be how they do it in the fourth quarter. But those are the things that we'll be watching. Because, again, everybody talks about like these things like they happen every snap. That's just not the case. It literally comes down to 10 to 12 plays. And it's how do those players make exceptional plays in those moments? And that's really who.
And you don't know when they're going to come up.
You have no idea.
And against Peyton and good quarterbacks or good coordinators, we had to have 2 game plans.
No doubt.
We switch it up in the second half so that we can make sure that we bust our own tendencies, because you look at what Seattle did when they put JSN in the backfield.
Yep.
They knew that they were going to box it one high, first inside, first outside.
Goes right.
And it created a receiver matchup against a linebacker. So it's about that stuff too. Using what you know.
That's right.
When we sent you guys home in the playoffs, which was rare, right? We knew that you guys were going to have a special check
Let
to
'em know,
Brandon
Bart.
Stokely.
That's right.
And when you saw cover 0. So we showed cover 0, we dropped out of it and went and made the play.
Yeah.